You need another lechi over here for this area. The mavoi itself has a lechi over here, but this area, the entrance area, has another lechi over here. So what do we see from here? We see from here that if not for this lechi, between the two lechis, we cannot carry, just like what Abaye said. So the Gemara, no, maybe not. Maybe over here, we're talking about that this square is 4 by 4 tefachim, 4 by 4, sorry, 4 by 4 tefachim, and it has a name of its own. And if it has a name of its own, it's a carmelis, and you can't carry there. So that is why I need another lechi. But in a usual case, where I have a lechi, just a regular beam, so it's a tefach, 2 tefachim, maybe in such a case, we could carry in between the lechayim. So there's no raya from this place, from this case. So Rav Chanin says in the name of Rav, no, even if the area of the Pesach is less than 4 by 4, we still need another lechi. So l'cha'ura, we have from here a raya for Abaye that between lechis you really cannot carry, and that is why we need an extra lechi in this area. Says the Gemara of Rava. What is Rava going to answer about this? Says the Gemara, Hasam the pasuach lekalmelis. Over there, it's talking about that it's not the exit of this mavoi. We're not talking about that this area is a Rishus HaRabim. We're talking about this area is a carmelis. And therefore, if it is a carmelis, then this whole thing is considered a carmelis, and that is why we cannot carry there. And if we want to differentiate between the carmelis over here and the carmelis over here, we need another lechi. Says the Gemara. So according to that, if we have a Rishus HaRabim over here, then we don't need this lechi, and a regular bein alechayim you'll let it carry. How could that be? Yatziva be'ala v'giyera b'shmei shmaya. You want to tell me that someone that's kavua, when it's Rishus HaRabim, you want to say it's mutar. When it's a carmelis, which is a less chomer, then it should be also. It should be the other way around. Says the Gemara, in the case of a carmelis, we do say it's osur. Why? Matzah min esminai v'neyor. Because both areas are carmelis, we join the two together and they become one osur area. And if I want to continue to carry in that area, I have to put a lechi. Amar le Rav Huna b'rei de Rabbi Yeshua leRava. V'at lo tisbar de ben l'chayim asur. So yes, Rava, you don't agree that between the l'chayim it's asur? V'omar Rabbi bar Rachana, Amar b'Yechanan, mavoi sheritzofoi b'l'chayim, pachos me'arba, bonon machlekes Rab Shimon Gamliel v'Rabbanan. In a case where, for some reason, the guy put a whole bunch of beams as a lechi. Between the beams, we have 3.5 tefachim. So over here, it's the machlokes of Rab Shimon Gamliel and Rabbanan. Why? Rab Shimon Gamliel, the Amar Brinan Lavud, Mishtamesh ad Chudei Hapnimi Shel Lechi Hapnimi. According to Rab Shimon Gamliel, because it's less than 4, we say lavud. And if we say lavud, this whole thing is one big lechi. Therefore, in this mavud, you could carry only till this line, till the beginning of the first lechi, because this is one long lechi. According to Rabbanon, that if it's over 3, we don't say lavud. So each beam over here is on its own. So we go according to the last lechi. And the last lechi we could carry until the beginning of it. So we gain more space. Mashma from here that according to everybody in front of the lechi, you're not allowed to carry. What's the whole difference? According to Rabbanon, this is the lechi, so only over here we're not allowed to carry. According to Reb Shimon Gamliel, this whole area is a lechi, therefore we cannot carry in this whole entire area. But both of them agree that we cannot carry between lechayim. So how does Rava explain this? Says Rava, he says the same answer. We're talking about that it's open to a Carmelist and not to a Reshus Rabim, and therefore he cannot carry in front of the lechi. Says the Gemara, the same question. If it would be a Reshus Rabim, you'd be allowed to carry in front of the lechi. Yatziva, the same question. Yatziva ba'ala b'gira b'shmei shmaya. The person who lives here kavua is down here, and the ger, which is the Carmelist, is all the way up, meaning it should be the other way around. If it's Reshus Rabim, it's more chomer, and therefore you shouldn't be allowed to carry. But if it is a Carmelist, you should be allowed to carry. Says the Gemara, in Matzah Minas Minai V'Neyar, when one is next to another one of its own kind, it wakes it up, and it becomes all one area, and therefore it is usher to carry them. Omid Base, sponsored by Shia Greenfield from Green Star Electrical Contracting. Ravashi Omar. Ravashi says, no. He says, Rav Yechanan really says that you are allowed to carry between the lechis. The case that we had of the machlokes of Rav Shimon Gamliel and Rabbanon, where could we carry up until? According to Rabbanon, until the last one. According to Rav Shimon Gamliel, until the first one. So how does he explain this? We're talking about that the total of all the beams gets to 4 amos, and therefore, if we're talking here about a distance of 4 amos, so we have here 2 mavos. We have the inner mavo, and we have here another mavo, because the din of mavo is when it's 4 amos. Therefore, this is another mavo. And if this is another mavo, according to Rav Shimon Gamliel, this whole thing is one wall. We don't have a lechi. If we don't have here a lechi, we can't carry it. But according to Rabbanan, say that we don't need love, that there's no lavud if it's more than 3 tvachim. So this whole area still belongs to the inner mavoi. Therefore, we're allowed to carry in this whole area. Says the Gemara, Rav Shimon Gamliel, lehave kenirei mi bachutz v'shavim mi b'fnim. Says the Gemara, maybe this case is like a lechi that is seen from the outside but not seen from the inside. What does that mean? If someone is standing over here in the mavoi and he's looking out towards Reshus Rabim, okay, so we said this is a new mavoi, so we have here a whole wall, we don't have here lechi, so you don't see it. But if someone is coming from the outside, this beam is sticking out. Someone is standing from the outside, he sees this beam he sees this beam sticking out. And what's the din? La halacha, if the lechi is seen even just from the outside, it has a din of a lechi. So if that's the case, why, according to Rav Shimon Gamliel, isn't it good? Says the Gemara, Midi hutaima el Rabbi Yochanan. We try to come to explain now, according to Rabbi Yochanan, that says the ben lechi is mutar. The haki also Rabbi Amar Rabbi Yochanan niramin b'chutz v'shavim b'fnim en nida mishum lechi. Rabbi Yochanan himself says that in such a case, when when it is seen only from the outside, says Rabbi Yochanan, that it cannot be considered as a lechi. So according to Rabbi Yochanan, we can't say that according to Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, this should be like a lechi from the outside, and it should be mutar. And therefore, according to Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, we could only carry until the beginning of these beams. Itma. Nireh mi b'fnim. Nireh mi b'fnim v'shavim mi b'chutz. If we have a beam that is seen from the inside, but is not seen from the outside. Like over here, someone that's standing in the mavoi and is looking towards the outside, he sees this beam sticking out, and great, he has a lechi. And someone who's standing from the outside cannot see this lechi. Nidei mishum lechi. The din is, it is considered a lechi. Nidei mi b'chutz, v'shaveh mi b'fnim. If it's seen only from the outside, but from the inside it's flush against the wall, and he doesn't see it as a lechi. Rab Chia b'Rab Shimon ben Rebbe, chad omar nidei mishum lechi, v'chad omar eino nidei mishum lechi. One says that it is considered a lechi, and one says that it is not considered a lechi. We don't know who. Says the Gemara, no. I could say, Tistayim de Rab Chia hu d'omar nidei mishum lechi. I want to say that Rab Chia is the one that says that it is a good lechi. Why? The Tani Rab Chia says, Koitel shetzidoi echad konus mechaveroi. If we have a wall that is not straight and has like a piece inner, so says Rab Chia, like in this case, that from the inside we don't see it, but we see it from the outside. From the inside we see that there is something there, but from the outside it looks like a straight wall. So this is considered mishum lechi. So says the Gemara, Tistayim, that Rab Chia is the one that says that in case the lechi is seen from the outside but not seen from the inside, the one who says that it is a good lechi is Rab Chia. Says Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan, Mila Yishmi Alei. Didn't Rabbi Yochanan hear this din of Rabbi Chia, this brisa, that a lechi that's seen from the outside but not seen from the inside has a din of lechi? Didn't he hear this din? So he heard this brisa, but he didn't hold that this is the halacha. Says the Gemara, maybe Rav Chia nami. You're trying to prove from this brisa that Rav Chia says that it is a good lechi. So maybe no. Rav Chia nami lo savala. Hi. So nami lo savala. Maybe also Rav Chia himself doesn't hold that that is the halacha. Says the Gemara, hi man. What are you trying to say here? Bishlam Rabbi Yochanan, Mela according to Rabbi Yochanan, lo savala mishum hachi lo tanila. Rabbi Yochanan doesn't hold that it's a good lechi, so that's why he didn't bring this brisa. He doesn't say this din. Hello, Rav Chia, Isa de lo savala lo malay la misnia. Rav Chia, he did not have to bring this brisa. So Tosfos explains over here, because we talking over here about a later din, not about the Rishonim of those days, because Rav Chia was the one who said the brises, but this was a later briser, and if he didn't hold that this is the halacha, he shouldn't have brought it. So from him bringing this brisa, we see that he holds that if it is seen from the outside but not seen from the inside, it is still considered a good lechi. Omar Rabba Baba Chana, Omar Rabba Bahavuna. Again, we're still continuing with the same case. Nire mi bachutz v'shava mi b'fnim nidei mishum lechi. If it is seen from the outside, but it's straight from the inside, it has a din of a lechi. Omar Rabba. So asks Rabba, umisvina nashmaitin. And he asks about his own din that he said that it's considered a lechi. He asks the kasha. Chotzer ktana. We have a mishnah. If small chotzer broke into originally there was a wall over here where this yellow line is. Okay. The small chutzner has an opening from here, the big chutzner has an opening from here, and the wall between the two broke. So what's the problem over here? The problem over here is that each chutzner had their own eruv. Okay. Now, if this is all considered one big eruv, one big area, they can't carry. Why? Because there's no eruv between the two chatzeres. So the Mishnah over there says, Gedola muteres uktana asura. The big chatzer are still allowed to carry, meaning from their houses into the chatzer, but the small one, the ktana asura, they cannot. Why? Because because this area is as if it's the opening of the big chutzner. And therefore, if it's an opening, the big chutzner, the people from the big chutzner go into the little chutzner, and therefore they're in there, so they didn't do an eruv, so they cannot carry them. Says the Gemara, if the din is that you could carry, if you have a lechi that's seen from the outside and not seen from the inside, what do we have over here? We have these side walls, right? Now these side walls are lechi. If you're looking from the outside of the small chutzner, you see them. If you're looking from the inside of the small chutzner, you don't see them. This is exactly our case. We have a lechi that's seen from the outside but not seen from the inside. And if the din is that such a lechi is good, why can't the people in the small chutzner continue to carry? This is Gemara. We're talking over here that the walls continue. Now, if the walls continue over here, we don't have a lechi. Okay? The walls of the Gedola start over here. Here it's not a lechi. Okay? So if the Ketana doesn't have a lechi anymore, not seen from the inside, not seen from the outside, and that is why the small chutzner cannot carry there. Says the Gemara, why don't we say that there's lavud? We have a very, very small area over here. So why don't we say we have here lavud, and then we have over here a lechi. And then we'll have a lechi that's seen from the outside, not seen from the inside. If you're going to want to tell me that the gap between this wall and this wall is much more than 3 tfachim, what are we talking about? What's the difference in size between the small chutzner and the big chutzner? The difference is 1 amma. This one is 10 wide, and the big one is 11 wide. So 1 amma we learned is 6 tfachim. Therefore, we have 3 tfachim including the wall, and here we have 3 tfachim including the wall. So the gap between the two is less than 3. If the gap is less than 3, we say lavud, and therefore we have over here a lechi. Says no, we're talking over here that it's not exactly in the middle, and therefore we have over here a big gap, a gap of more than 3 tfachim, and that's why we cannot say over here lavud. Over here we have 2 tfachim, over here we have 4 tfachim, that's a total of 6, but over here we can't say lavud. Says the Gemara, fine. So this side, there's no lavud, but here we have 2 tfachim, that's lavud. So over here we have a lechi. Lechi we know, one side is enough usually. So in this case, it should be mutar, even the people in the small chutzner should be allowed to carry. Says the Gemara, no. The whole din that we learned that you could use one lechi, it's talking about a mavoi. But if you have a chutzner, that has an opening, it needs 2 pasim on both sides. And therefore, in this case, where one side is 2 and one side is 4, we have a lavud only on one side. The other side has no lavud. Therefore, we have a pas, a lechi, only on one side. And therefore, the small chutzner cannot carry anymore. Have a good evening, afternoon, etc. Shkoyach.
Shkoyach to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Wonderful shir.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
At the end of the day, the case of the Chatzik Adayla to the Chatzik Katana has nothing to do with the Lechi.
No, the reason is because there's no Eruv between the two. And if there's no Eruv between the two, we say that the big Chatzar, the people of the big Chatzar walk through the small Chatzar, and therefore they could use it on a regular basis. And if they could use it on a regular basis, it means that they're part of that Chatzar. If they're part of that Chatzar, and there's no Eruv, so nobody can carry
no
them.
need for a Lechi for them. Thank you.
Shkoyach, Zageber. Mazel tov, Yisrael.
Thank you.
Menachem, can you post the graphics somewhere, like on the chat, or where Yosef usually posts them?
I posted them on the MDY group. I don't have any. What group are you on? That he?
No, on the one Yosef usually posts the stuff on the regular MDY group. I didn't see them there today.
Yeah, I posted them in the morning.
Okay, so there must be two MDY groups.
I guess you're
right. What is the?
I asked Yeshua, and he didn't know.
What is the regular MDY group? Is that the one that's called Friends of MDY?
There's two groups. There's three groups.
Like,
yeah.
The Friends of MDY, which is what most people use, and then there's the MDY, I think, for the people over there who actually go to the shir in person, and then there's the chat group.
So where'd you post it?
the unofficial.
On the America's Daf Yomi group.
You have to get it to the Friends of MDY group.
Yeah, you got to get it to Friends of MDY.
Yeshua, could you post it there? Is he on? Yeshua, you fell asleep? I'll send it to Yosef. I'll ask him to post it on the group.
Thank you.
so
I
much.
appreciate it.
Menachem Mateh.
Pleasure.
Great job, Menachem. Great job.
Go ahead.
Have a good day.
Thank you very much. Ben.
We appreciate it. It was excellent. And you look like you're virtually in Ellie's house.
I said I had to give a little bit of the feeling of it.
You got the turning of the daf today, so we're getting there.
Sorry?
We got the turning of the daf sponsor today, so we're getting better.
I didn't have it written down yesterday. I didn't want to make a mistake, so I said I'd rather not say it. You could come with kindness to me, that's fine. But today I was more organized.
I see you left a good part to Ellie. Right, the turning over the raya.
The what?
You left the good part, the ending of this whole thing. You left early.
Because it's a long sugya, it still continues in the next daf. It can't really continue.
The whole raya that it's not good. I guess you left that for him.
Yeah, Lamaisa, there's a way he stopped this morning as well.
The difference is you have 10 minutes now. He's not going to. It's going to take him the whole sheet to do that.
For those who've been listening to the shir for way back, when Ellie used to run away more often and I used to give the shir more often, so that was a big joke. I always used to take half the time that Ellie gave the shir.
Catch up.
You could probably go back on YouTube to from the shiurim, like from a year and a half ago. You could see the time that the shiurim that I gave and the shiurim that Ellie gave.
Very good, Shkoyach.
Okay, I sent it to Yosef. I hope he sends it out soon. Have a good evening, everybody. Good afternoon, wherever you are.
Good evening to you too. See you. Bye-bye.
I am definitely sleepy. Hmm.
How's it going, Steve?
Baruch Hashem, just I don't know. I didn't sleep well last
No.
night, and not at all.
Oh, did you manage to tune into the Siyum?
Yes,
Isn't Eli a man of his word? Wasn't it an amazing event?
it was. It was amazing. Hmm. Excellent. Yeah.
I'm telling you, I never saw such a beautiful event. He really, really outdid himself.
Hmm.